Did you have a pregnancy glow?
As much as I love postpartum, which is, I know, a contrary to a lot of mothers who love pregnancy and dislike
that was me.
postpartum.
That was me.
But I hated pregnancy and I love postpartum.
Actors have stretch marks.
Absolutely.
If dermatologists have stretch marks, then I really think people should just chill out about your stretch marks. And everyone's just telling them that, hey, ye mat laga, wo mat laga, your baby is more important than you. Like,
There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's your life is not going to be only diapers and baby bottles.
we don't need to be super women. We're women. We have our, we have our need of self-care. We have our need of personal time. I think that's what hit me the most. That I felt that I lost who I was. And I was just taking care of my baby or working. I could only ask you this question on a podcast and get away with it. Hello and welcome to Under Your Skin. This is a podcast where I am quite literally going to get under your skin, which is why the name for those of you who still didn't get it. This is a podcast where we're going to be talking about your skin, your wellness, your health, self-care, and so much more. Today's episode is super special because I have someone extremely special with me. One of my closest friends, a brilliant dermatologist, and just out of the oven, a new mom. Welcome, Dr. Afza Machiwala.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, especially because it's you when I'm doing my
You'd
first
better come here.
podcast. So if I had to do a first podcast with anybody, it had to be you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And vice versa. Afza, how has it been? Alaya's here and your life has changed, I think, 180 degrees.
Totally,
How has
totally.
this
Apart from how I look has changed, also like time, skin, work. It's like I feel brain fog is.
been? Oh,
It's I kept
Absolutely.
telling my mother, how do you forget so much? And now I think I forget. I think Alaya is constantly in my head. Everything else needs to be an effort. What comes
Yeah.
easy is, I feel, I can't say motherhood is easy, but I feel like it's coming to me more naturally.
Wow, I wish I could say the same. It never came easily to me. Like, I feel it was such a struggle for me.
I think I've been very blessed with a lot of support system as well. So that really helps. And Alaya's touchwood been an easy baby so far. You also have a boy, and boys
Oh my
are.
God. So every time I used to call you when you had just delivered, I used to keep thinking that, yeah, now she must be miserable. Like, come on, why are you not miserable yet? Why are you not sleep deprived? And you're like, yeah, she sleeps through the night. And I was like, what the hell? My son didn't sleep through the night till he was a year and a half. And I used to be so annoyed at every other mom who got to sleep through the night. Like, what is this breeze of a pregnancy that you've had?
No. I think I had a difficult pregnancy from like going into like scary preterm labor to
yeah,
being
of
in bed
course.
rest for
Yeah.
1 month. But still, I think we both are somebody who looks at the brighter side in life always, and then we have
Possibly.
these beautiful children. But
Can't
for
complain.
me, but Alaya, of course, doesn't sleep through the night. But I do. I think I've let her be more. Like I feel maybe you're more hands on than I am. I don't know, but I feel like I manage.
I also feel mine must have been a little harder because it happened in COVID, and
You didn't have
we had
help.
any help. We were doing jhadu, pocha, bartan, cooking, everything. So it was a lot, and also Abhishek was doing his entire COVID duties the whole time. So
Yeah.
it was insane, maybe for us. Maybe that was the difference. I don't know. Okay, so now jumping into the actual podcast, okay, because we can go on like this forever. What were the top 3 problems that you faced during your entire postpartum, I'd say?
So see, the commonly spoken problems are like postpartum hair fall, postpartum depression, but surprisingly, I didn't have either of them. What I did have is postpartum urticaria. Like I don't know if this is spoken about, but there is a sudden histamine rise in your body which causes like random wheals, and there is no food allergy, there is nothing. And I feel a lot of people might be suffering from it, and it's not spoken about enough. The second is the hot flashes. So, because postpartum feels like you are in menopause, there is also such a hormone drip that I was feeling so hot, and it was like 10 minutes full AC, and I'm like dying. I'm like, oh my god, it is so hot. And the third thing is after you stop breastfeeding, there is a sudden surge of acne. And that happens once you're weaning because the sudden hormone changes happen more once you wean.
This happened to me too, actually.
It's very common, but it's
Yeah.
not spoken about. So I feel like acne during the weaning period, these are three issues which are not very common, but I think I face them.
Yeah.
Postpartum hair fall and depression is luckily not
Oh,
something
I
that
had massive postpartum hair fall. Massive. Like I lost half my hair, but of course it came back.
I think I just ignored it. I think postpartum hair fall ka best solution is to not stress about it and
Yeah.
to just ignore it because I know it's going to come back. So I did take my vitamins and everything, but I didn't really bother about it. So I think it was good.
What about a pregnancy glow? Did you have a pregnancy glow? Do you think it's real?
I think it does. It just happens because of like increased blood flow and like increased estrogen also. But I don't think I really
I think
had
it's a
it.
myth. I think it's a
Yeah,
total myth.
I don't think I had it.
Because I feel your skin gets. I mean, I basically always had these PDLs, pigmentary demarcation lines, and for the first time I noticed them during my pregnancy. I barely even knew I had them, and then they got so dark during my pregnancy and in my postpartum. I don't think I even noticed it then, but when I see my pictures from my pregnancy now, I'm like, what the hell was that? Like, how did that get so dark?
So for me, surprisingly, I've always had a really acne-prone skin, and I was not on any like actives. Like I had stopped my tret only during my pregnancy, and surprisingly, I didn't break out. So that was maybe some pregnancy ka
That's a
good
huge
hormones.
surprise.
Yeah. But apart from that, I don't think I was glowing. I hated being pregnant. As much as I love postpartum, which is I know a contrary to a lot of mothers who love pregnancy and
Yeah,
dislike
that was me.
postpartum.
That was me.
But I hated pregnancy and I love postpartum.
Oh, wow. So we do see a lot of patients with a lot of skin issues during pregnancy. As we said, pregnancy glow is possibly a myth. So what are the top 4 concerns that most pregnant women tend to develop during pregnancy?
I think acne is very, very common because of the increased sebaceous gland activity. Pigmentation, like you said, but the more common pigmentation is melasma, which we call
Yes.
as cloasma
Cloasma
in
in pregnancy.
pregnancy. Hair fall is also something that most people face postpartum, but some do even face it in pregnancy. But for the most part, pregnancy, they have good hair.
Yes.
But some people I have seen who even face hair fall during pregnancy. And
Stretch marks.
stretch marks.
Oh, God.
But stretch marks is there is no escape, I think. But I think genetics is the only thing that can really save you. You don't
I
have
know.
stretch marks,
So
do you?
I have randomly had stretch marks while I was growing up, obviously in other places. But during my pregnancy, which I really expected I would get a lot of stretch marks, I never got stretch marks
What
on my
did you
tummy.
do?
I just moisturized, to be honest. And to be very honest, I didn't use any of those, marketed products for stretch marks. I just used regular moisturizers through my pregnancy. Now, again, as I said, I don't know if that helped or it was just my genetics, but why not moisturize?
Definitely. I moisturize too, but my genetics are not as great, I think. But I don't have like crazy stretch marks. But I also feel like those are things that I feel you should. There are multiple treatments available. But I think I would prefer treating my patients for a lot of other concerns and focusing only on stretch marks because it's tedious, time consuming, money consuming. Results are not that great. But there are treatments
And
available.
honestly, I think
You should
they're quite
embrace
cool.
them.
They tell a story, and I don't think we should be ashamed of it. And everybody has stretch marks. Models have stretch marks. Actors have stretch marks.
Absolutely.
If dermatologists have stretch marks, then I really think people should just chill out about your stretch marks. Okay, what about pigmentation? When we get into pigmentation, what is safe? What is not safe?
Pigmentation in pregnancy is very, very common. So, sunscreen is the number one thing that all pregnant women should abide by. They can opt for safer options which have physical filters, and there are multiple physical sunscreens available now which don't have a white cast, which absolutely absorb, are not oily. Start with that every morning and do like a light depigmenting cream which contains like kojic acid, which contains a little vitamin C, maybe even a little azelaic acid. Ingredients like these are absolutely safe and will help prevent your pigmentation and give you that nice glow.
What about what should you absolutely avoid? What depigmenting ingredients should you absolutely avoid?
See, hydroquinone and arbutin are major things that are avoidable. And the thing is that most ingredients are safe, but people tend to think that, oh, because I'm pregnant, I should not apply anything. But that's not true. You can.
Absolutely. I've had patients who've come to me with breakdowns. We always tend to underestimate the impact of cosmetic concerns on mental health. Particularly during pregnancy, I've had patients with, say, really bad acne flares, which are affecting their confidence so much that this poor pregnant woman who really needs to be enjoying her pregnancy is not stepping out of her house because of her
looks-
acne flares. And there are so many acne safe ingredients which you can use during a pregnancy to counter it. Yes, don't use tretinoin, but you can use azelaic acid, clindamycin, benzyl peroxide, even a 1% salicylic acid. There's so many things you can use and वो control में आ जाएगा.
Absolutely.
And everyone's just telling them that, hey, ye mat laga, wo mat laga, your baby is more important than you. Like, I get it, but there is science to support this. Why not take care of your skin during pregnancy?
Absolutely. I think people should start using skincare in pregnancy. Just consult a dermatologist if you're really confused, and they will build you a pregnancy safe skincare routine, and you can enjoy good skin in your pregnancy as well.
Absolutely. And what about hair fall? That's something a lot of people tend to have.
See, pregnancy related hair fall is maybe due to deficiency, but postpartum hair fall is when the long anagen phase, you have like really the best hair of your life
I
in your
swear.
pregnancy. And suddenly, when your baby smiles, that's around like 3 months, that's when your hair fall starts.
It's almost like it's laughing at you, no?
It totally is. So it's like crazy. Like the hair fall post pregnancy is like you will just like lose hair. Like people come with like
Truckloads
of
of hair.
hair.
And they come and show you कि आज इतना
Yeah,
गया.
yeah.
And you're like,
So-
मत दिखाओ, आप भी मत देखो, मुझे भी मत दिखाओ. It's going to stop.
And I think this is what also adds to the postpartum depression is the
Yeah.
hair fall. So I feel number one thing people need to do is stop stressing about it because it's going to be okay, and there are just supplements that you need to take and you will be fine.
Supplements, peptide serums are completely lactation safe, and that'll really help to at least reduce the duration of your extended hair fall.
Absolutely.
And irrespective, it's going to stop. So no point stressing about it. Whatever falls out is going to grow back. So no point stressing about it. What about the emotional impact? I remember this conversation we had.
When I was
when
searching for a
You
therapist.
called me and you asked me, Tanvi, how do you get a therapist? And I was like, Afza, I'm here for you. I'm so glad you're talking about your mental health, and I will help you find a therapist. And there are these websites where you can go and you can see how your therapist talks, and you can choose a therapist based on that. And you got really confused and you started
Because
asking
I was
me,
searching
"ऐसे भी
for a
होता है?"
skincare therapist.
Yes,
and you were
for your
giving me a
clinic.
mental health therapist. Thankfully, I didn't need one.
Oh, wow.
But I feel like everyone should do therapy in life. Even
Correct.
though
Absolutely.
you have done therapy.
I have done therapy. I don't think I followed it up with the right number of sessions. Maybe I should. But there was a point in my life where I was extremely stressed. My mom was undergoing her chemos and her surgery. My son was undergoing surgery. So it was a lot for me to take on. And I thought that I really should, to be able to deal with it more healthily, take therapy. But I feel like I really didn't follow through with it. I just took 2 sessions and I stopped. But I really feel that therapy is very important when you're going through something.
I think what you majorly go through is that your life is just like bottles and milk and like diapers and like baby, and I don't think we realize that we are going to get out of this. Like I think the thing that held me on or like kept me going was that I knew that okay, I had a mind. I exclusively breastfed for 6 months, and then I stopped breastfeeding at 7 months, which I think lots of people don't do. But for me, I was like, okay, now I'm done. I have to get out of this breastfeeding cycle. I have done the best that I could, and now I'm going to like switch to formula, which I feel you should not be ashamed of if you have to, because I don't think I would have been able to work or like manage everything if I was feeding also. So the only thing that you have to keep in mind is that this phase is going to end. You're going to maybe there's a new normal, but a normal will come.
Yeah.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. Your life is not going to be only diapers and baby bottles. So
Absolutely.
just hold on to that thought.
And I also really feel that we need to get out of this mom guilt and this pressure that we put on ourselves to be this ridiculously amazing superwoman. We don't need to be superwomen. We're women. We have our, we have our need of self-care. We have our need of personal time. I think that's what hit me the most, that I felt that I lost who I was. And I was just taking care of my baby or working. And, there was no time for Tanvi and the person that I was
Yeah.
before.
Because mom guilt only hits us when we are doing something we enjoy. When we are working, we're not as guilty.
Absolutely. And I think that itself is a very big journey that has taken womankind a while to get here. that we
Yeah.
don't feel guilty working.
Working, yeah.
Um,
That
yeah,
at least
and I'm
like
sure there's a lot of women out there who still do feel
feel
guilty
guilty
working.
working.
And I really hope, they can also get to the point where you don't feel guilty working.
Yeah, but we are still someone like if I have to go for a nail appointment post work, I'll be like, oh my god, maybe I should go home, see my baby first,
Yeah.
put her to bed first, and then go for my nail appointment. But I also feel like we as women are just more attached to our children also. Like I know our husbands would be like, okay, I will just see them tomorrow. But if we have 1 hour in the day to maybe spend with our kid, we will choose that.
I also feel to a large extent those differences might be societal conditioning. I don't know what component is genetic and what component isn't.
I think it's conditioning.
It possibly is because we've always seen our moms sacrifice, right? Like constantly sacrifice and put us first. Whereas our dads never got guilted by society for, say, staying late at work. Maybe that happened, I don't know. So other than us, there have been other people who also got pregnant, not as important as us. Not
I think
as,
it's like my husband says it's a pandemic of pregnancy currently. Everybody around
Everyone's
us
getting pregnant.
is pregnant.
So Deepika Padukone recently got pregnant, and
What a
she
hot
spoke.
mom.
What a hot mom! And what a cool mom that I think she shot some major action scenes also during her pregnancy.
Really?
If I'm not
Wow.
mistaken, there was some, I forgot, but I think she did that.
Wow.
Irrespective, so Deepika really, she launched her skincare products and she really spoke about how she was basically cleansing, moisturizing, and protecting her skin using sunscreen. So what do you think of that? Did you do any of that during your pregnancy?
These are the basics. I think
Of course.
everyone should do the cleansing, moisturizing, and protecting. But I also think Deepika has like over time worked over her skin. If you see from the time she entered the industry to today, her skin has changed drastically. So she has done multiple things to
Yeah.
take it to that level. So 9 months of cleansing, moisturizing, protecting is fine, but she's going to go back to doing more. She's going to add the active ingredient. She's going to do her regular procedures that she's getting done. But for a regular person who wants to have a skincare routine in pregnancy, definitely do cleansing, moisturizing, protecting. Maybe add like a depigmenting cream at night, like an azelaic acid. Add like a vitamin C in the morning if your skin can tolerate it.
Absolutely. Makes sense. She also spoke a lot about, diet and lifestyle and exercise during pregnancy, which I still feel is it's a huge shift coming from an Indian perspective where we are told, kuch mat karna, don't lift anything heavy, don't bend, don't do this, don't do that.
Absolutely. I think I was working out through my pregnancy.
I remember you were doing like
I
some
was
very
doing
killer Pilates.
and everything. I don't know if it really helped. Like, I did have a vaginal delivery. They say people who are more active in pregnancy tend to have a vaginal delivery. I don't know if that was the reason. But I do think that it does help a little bit. Like, I was absolutely able to squat in my labor with an epidural as well. So it was, I think, like I said, my postpartum journey has been better because I didn't have a cesarean, so my recovery was also faster. So I think people should be very active and should not believe that but you can't lift things and move and all.
Absolutely.
And it makes you feel good. Happy hormones are released when you work out. So do like but do it under somebody who knows.
Of course, don't go completely overboard.
Yeah.
That is also extremely important. And understand that every pregnancy is different. Like in my last 3 months of pregnancy, I was on bed rest. So God forbid if I had lifted anything, things would have been very problematic. But yeah,
So
like
take it
every
slow.
pregnancy is different and we need to, respect.
Understand your body, I think,
Absolutely.
and respect it.
Okay, so now enough about you, Afza. I'm bored of you. I want to talk about Alaya because she's the star of
She is, absolutely.
the moment. So, what skincare did you do for Alaya?
So see, babies are usually born with a lot of bumps here and there, redness here and there, some acne like looking lesions. So all babies are born like that, number one. So any new mom, relax, your baby's skin is going to get
Melia is
better.
normal.
Melia is normal.
All of it is
So
normal.
lots of bumps are there everywhere, which look like pimples, melia, little dryness. All of it is normal. It's going to become okay. Most babies look like monkeys when they're born, if I can say this out loud. But they do turn into like
Cute
cuties
monkeys.
in like 2 months or so. So give it that time. In that time, I think moisturizing is very, very important. Also using a very gentle soap and also not using very hot water also.
I also feel atopic dermatitis is really rising and we really need to moisturize their skins a lot more. They tend to dry out. I see so many babies with atopic. Jashan himself had atopic dermatitis as a
Yeah, I
kid.
remember.
Yeah, so
Prevention is better than
prevention
cure.
is always better.
So a gentle cleanser and lots of moisturizing, I think, does the trick. Nothing else I think you require till 6 months. Once the baby starts stepping out, maybe like a nice physical sunscreen,
Yeah.
which is kid approved. You could use an adult physical sunscreen as well, but as long as it has physical filters, you're good.
Post 6 months of age.
Post 6 months.
And even that, I see a lot of parents obsessively doing it every single day. I really feel thoda overkill hai. You can do it when there is going to be intense sun exposure. Otherwise, their kids. Just
I
let
don't
them
think
be,
you need to
honestly.
apply sunscreen for your baby every day. You can only apply it if you have like a trip to Imagica or to like Disneyland.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I don't think they really required it till they go to school.
Okay, couple of myths that a lot of people have about babies' skincare is talcum powder. Do you think talcum powder is needed?
No, I think talcum powder is causing more harm than good. I would rather switch to like a good diaper cream. There are multiple available. The safest one is anything with zinc oxide. Forms a nice barrier and will prevent that rash.
What about chumpy for your babies? Those intense oil massages. What do you think of that?
See, I think a gentle massage for a baby is great. It does help with like a little movement and motor development, I feel. But I don't. A lot of babies who have seborrheic dermatitis or have those flaking in the scalp, it actually aggravates it.
Absolutely.
So I have so many friends who message me their child's photo and says, Afza, this is there, and
always
we're
turns
applying
out to be
oil.
seborrheic.
And they're applying oil, and all I tell them is stop applying oil, and it goes away.
Yeah, and they can do that massage with a baby lotion. Absolutely, that works. It does. It's not occlusive basically. Oils being occlusive tend to sort of worsen seborrheic and any fungal infections. And in a country like India where it's so hot, I feel, do not apply any occlusive products on your
and
babies.
if you're doing a malish, like immediately wash it off. Never
Yeah,
leave it
exactly.
on at least. Never
Yes.
like some people apply oil on their babies' heads overnight. That's an absolute
Yeah,
no, I think.
absolutely. Lastly, what do you think of Mundan? I
You-
remember you.
I did
got
do a mundan, yes,
yeah.
but I don't think I did it for her to have like. I know it's not going to like change her hair quality or her growth,
But it's more of like a cultural fun sort of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we
But
have this
it's-
something where we have to donate according to the weight of her hair. We have to donate
okay.
some money. So we just like did it for that. But if you think that it's going to like overnight change your baby's hair, it's not. And hopefully all babies will have good hair.
Of course they will. They're just born. Wait for life to stress them out and ruin their hair.
Yeah,
Wait.
right now it's just like all the best.
Now let me just put you on the spot and we're going to do a quick rapid fire. Okay?
Coffee with Karan feels.
Yes, tea with Tanvi. What's your favorite basic pharmacy skincare find?
Azelaic acid, Aziderm,
10%, 20%.
both.
Okay.
Start with 10.
What is the one skincare ingredient you wish you had started earlier?
Tretinoin. I was doing retinol till maybe my 20s, but I had really acne prone skin. So I feel like I should have just put Tret in my teenage years only.
Was your pregnancy planned or unplanned?
Definitely unplanned.
Love the honesty. I could only ask you this question on a podcast and get away with it. Do you really reapply your sunscreen every 3 years?
No, I don't.
Do you reapply at all?
I do if I'm in a park or like if I'm on a vacation, but not if I'm working or if I'm indoors. And I don't advise my patients either.
Fair. What's the one thing that always breaks you out?
Milk.
Stress for me. I know I'm stressed because of the acne I get.
I don't think it's stress for me, milk. And my mother made me drink a glass of milk all my life, and the minute I stopped it, my acne became better.
Oh, wow. What's the most random thing you saw on Instagram and started doing which actually worked for you in skincare?
I think no DIY I want to say, but a random thing is like applying Vaseline and then spraying your perfume or applying
Oh,
like
man,
a primer.
yeah.
Even a skin primer works really well. So if you apply a primer
Oh.
and then you spray perfume, I saw this as a hack.
Yeah,
and
even I
think,
learned this on
I
Instagram.
think it works well.
What is the worst thing you have ever seen on Instagram which you would never ever recommend to anyone?
I think applying period blood on their face.
Oh,
like,
God,
what was that even? Like, I don't know, where did it come from?
I think it's some logic of how PRP would work. But yaar, PRP inject kar rahe hai, PRP sterile hai.
But period blood is like, it's not, it doesn't have any growth factors. It's like, It's basically ruptured endometrium and your ovary or your ovum. So,
What's one embarrassing thing that I'd find in your bag right now?
embarrassing thing that you will find in my bag. Maybe a lot of MR tiny samples.
Yeah, we're all guilty of those. Someone asked me what sunscreen do you use regularly? And I just realized I use whatever sample I get, man. Like
True.
I'm
But tell
not
me your
like
favorite sunscreen.
my favorite
If you had to like
sunscreen,
buy and use it.
I would say it's Acosma. I love Acosma. It's like water. It's really lovely. What about you?
I love the Photon Hydra. I think that's also like absolutely like
Yeah,
water.
that's also really, yeah, that actually is very, very much like water. Very nice. What's your favorite in clinic treatment?
Microneedling, I think. I think I do microneedling the most, and I feel like I have a flair for it. That even with my tiny derma pen, I can do a lot. So of course, and now microneedling is coming with exosomes. It's coming with
Yeah.
PDRNs. So you're mixing it up so much. So I feel, and it works for everything, for acne, for pigmentation, for anti-aging. So I think it's that one thing that anyone can do.
Okay, so this is something that happens to me a lot. I don't know if it happens to you. I feel it's like a professional hazard that I really don't want to have. But when I see somebody with a skin problem, like if I see someone with, say, skin tags, I can't
I
stop
can't believe
focusing
you
on it,
said
and I
skin
keep
tags. I thought
it.
you were going to say acne. Even for
No,
me,
skin
it's like
tags is
skin
my
tags.
thing.
Same.
I see skin tags and I'm like, I really want to
I
cauterize
want
them.
to
I
give
really
them.
want to cauterize
I want to give them my card. Luckily,
Yeah,
I don't
like,
travel with
please,
my card.
like
Otherwise,
I'll
I
do
would.
it for free. Just like, please let me cauterize your skin tags. It happens
And
to
I
me.
think it's because skin tags. I think the skin becomes so drastically better. Like they have these random spots all over their face in the minute they're cauterized. And I just did a skin tag cauterization today, and that guy's like full transformation happens. I think so. That's why I think that gives you the most ick to like.
What's, how you keep going to like weddings and people keep coming up and asking you for skincare advice? I go for yoga class, it happens to me. Wherever you go, I think the moment people find out you're a dermat, they catch you. What's the randomest place you've been asked for
My
skincare advice?
Pilates studio mid class. But yeah, or in the washroom also, like,
Washroom, that was mine.
yeah, these are the two
Washroom.
random places where you're like absolutely like,
I'd gone to a movie theater ka washroom and somebody I think recognized me from Instagram and like started a full blown consultation in the washroom. That was the randomest place that happened to me. What is the one thing that you'd like to tell all of your patients not to do?
or skincare wise, there are a lot of things like don't wax your face, don't bleach your face. But otherwise, if you're asking me to not to do with me, like because we're talking about like meeting randomly and all, would be to like call me randomly. Like I feel like I'm more of like someone has to like text me first.
I think this is not a patient specific problem, Hafsa.
Or
This
like,
is a life
yeah, like if
specific
you have
problem.
like just text me your work and I will get back to you. I
Yeah.
feel like you can't because see, we are of course in clinic. A patient should understand that I'm not going to randomly remember who you are if you like randomly call me. I don't have your number saved. So I feel the easier thing is to go through the right channels and the treatment will be better.
That's true. I also feel a lot of patients need to understand that a dermat is not a magician, a doctor is not a magician, the human body is not a machine, and 2 plus 2 is not always equal to 4 when we talk about
Yeah.
skincare. So, patients who come in with very unrealistic expectations, ki, I
Very
came to a
difficult.
dermat, now my skin will never have acne again after one visit to a dermat. It doesn't work like
Acne
that.
is like a lifelong struggle and you have to keep battling it. It's like having diabetes where you're continuously taking maybe insulin or anti-diabetic drugs. Skincare is that for your skin. Like you have to keep feeding it. Like you're eating lunch, dinner every day. It's not like you can just eat all the lunch, all the food you want today and be like, yeah, I'm done for life. So you have to keep doing skincare every single day for the rest of your life. Sorry to break it.
Okay, that was a really fun rapid fire, and we all really enjoyed finding out that your pregnancy was unplanned. Uh, Afza, would you like to give one last message to all of our listeners?
So, especially to all the new moms, I would say there is light at the end of the tunnel. Your hair fall is going to get better. You can have a skincare routine. Don't feel guilty for that 5 minutes of skincare that you're doing every day. And enjoy your postpartum period, enjoy your baby, and cut the guilt.
Absolutely. And don't aim for perfect skin. Don't stress too much about your skin, your hair. Your body is going through a roller coaster ride of hormones.
Tell me about
So
it.
just
And the weight
chill.
hopefully will go.
Yeah, it will. It will. It took me 2 years post my delivery to
You
normalize
don't look
to
like a
regular
mom
weight.
at all.
Yeah, but my BMR is naturally thoda sa high, so I'm a little lucky in that sense. But irrespective, I really feel don't aim for that, perfect skin or unrealistic expectations nahi hone chahiye. Chill out, enjoy this phase because it's probably going to happen to us once in our lives.
True,
None of
true.
us are going to make 10 babies.
We will miss this once it
Yeah, we
goes
really
away.
will. I miss my pregnancy so, so much. If you guys have any questions about pregnancy or skincare during pregnancy, postpartum skincare, or how to care for your baby's skin, please ask us in the comments and we'd be so happy to help you out because both of us have just been through this and it's a very touchy, very close
Close to our
topic to our
heart.
hearts, basically. We're just getting under the skin of motherhood, and this is only the beginning. I hope to see you on the next episode of this podcast where we'll talk about other super cool things related to skin. If you like this episode, please let us know. We'd love to have your feedback and do subscribe to this channel.
Where's the coffee mug? Don't I get to like sign something?
No, sorry. You're coming with me drinking. You're not signing
Let's go
anything.
drink.
Bye.